The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. Lots more to get to on the reaction to the A&M loss. And now we have a bit more thoughts from Eli Drinkwitz on that after his post-game press conference, namely that I don't know if he confirmed it, but he definitely didn't deny that A&M was calling out the plays at the line, like Caden Green seemed to indicate when he was talking post-game. That was interesting. And lots of other stuff that was interesting from Drink today.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that would be Drinks to confirm. I think Caden Green confirmed it. That's good enough for me. He was the one on the field when it was happening. So, yeah, that was something. But he had a reaction to that, and one that, makes sense, and you should say. So we'll talk about that and whatever else you found interesting from his press conference today, which, it
was short today.
I don't know what – it was short. I don't know what I expected necessarily, but I don't know, sign of the times, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be an interesting 3 weeks to go before the end of the regular season. We're gonna be living in this little spot that we're in. I feel like for a little while now, for better or worse, if I had to put my spin on it, but here we are.
If you want to give us thoughts on it, our text line is open, 573-875-KTGR. We'll also have our good, bad, and ugly from week 10 of the NFL season. Give us yours with a call or a text. And the injury expert, Will Carroll, joins us at 425. We'll also have Mizzou wrestling coach Brian Smith. Great win for them this past weekend in the Tiger Style Invites. 545, Brian Smith joins us to talk about that. Call or text us again at 875-KTGR. We're live on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. You can leave a comment there. Subscribe if you don't already. Live on Facebook as well, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
It'll be official tonight, but I think everyone expects now that with Mizzou's latest loss to A&M that they will fall out of the college football playoff rankings that will be released just after 6 p.m. this evening. Tigers were number 22 this past week, but after the 38-17 loss to A&M and falling out of the AP poll, they're still hanging on to the coaches, but the expectation, it would seem tonight, is that they would fall out of the college football playoff rankings. So we'll see if that does happen tonight after 6 p.m. Tiger Talk with Eli Drinkwitz starts at 7 p.m. tonight on 105.1 FM and 1580 AM KTGR. Mizzou women's basketball will be on the court tonight at Mizzou Arena taking on Arkansas State, looking to make it a 3-0 start. That can be heard on 100.5 FM KTGR with coverage starting at 6:15. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 11th day of November, Veterans Day 2025. Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR here on the Big Show if you want to weigh in on the conversation some more. I know a lot of you texted us even yesterday and maybe didn't get all of your thoughts in on the fallout from the A&M loss, so you can continue to text us about it. We'll get to some here in just a second, but we'll get to Eli Drinkwitz's reaction essentially to Texas A&M, according to Caden Green, saying that, yeah, they were kind of calling out what we were going to run before we ran it. And it's a little concerning that it was tipped off to that degree, that A&M was able to stop it. And sure enough, they did. And here was Eli Drinkwitz when he was asked about that.
My reaction to that is, obviously, we've got to do a better job with some of our signaling and communication. And obviously, we've got to go back and check our tendencies. We came back off of a bye week, felt like we had a pretty good handle on our tendency stuff. We run a lot of outside zone. I think that's probably pretty predictable. And so we just got to go back and make sure that we're doing the best job we can to, check our stances, check our wording and verbiage to make sure that we're clean on that.
It is a bread and butter play, the outside zone for Mizzou, but it's just that even though teams knew that 2 years ago when Mizzou got really good at it, they still couldn't really do anything about it. So it is about somewhat disguising, but also I think it's just more about execution. when it comes to that. I don't necessarily blame it on the fact that Mizzou might have been tipping with their formation or with how they were lined up, their stances.
Yeah, the
as to what
stances
the-
could be part of it as well.
yeah,
Whether it's the lineman or the running back having a certain look that they can pick up on. It's that linebacker for A&M. I think he's even a freshman. York, I think is the kid's name. They were given. I've seen some social media of like he was kind of the leader of doing this and has done it before in previous games this season. So that's kind of something that he's picked up. But like, you don't want to be the team that's predictable enough in what you're running to have that happen to you. Now, granted, it did happen, I think, in Monday Night Football last night as well. Packers fans were upset about maybe that happening on a key fourth down play. Josh Jacobs talking about it. So maybe not, a unique experience. It happens at times, but as Drink said, like, I think that's the best way he can talk about it is like, clearly, we just got to continue to make sure that we are working on how we approach that and what we need to be doing. But that, yeah, it was definitely kind of added insult to the injury, rub salt in the wound to hear that from Caden Green after the game.
And look, it can be a combination of that, but I think kind of the larger point is that even if A&M knew, they're running outside zone, I think a lot of teams can know that Mizzou's going to try and run outside zone a lot of the time. It just comes down to how well it's blocked and and everyone being in the right spot and all of that coming together. So, like, you can line up the way that everyone expects you to line up, and they're going to say, like, oh, yeah, that's the play, but you can still have that play work. That's kind of my point.
I don't think it's just that, though. I think you've got to have the ability to disguise or have some other plays off of that look, off of that action to be able to keep a defense on their toes and not let them feel too comfortable to say, like, we're going to be able to sell out to stop this because we've seen them do it enough times in this game that we're pretty confident they don't have they're not going to something else when we see whatever the tell might have been. That's the concern. So I agree. It does come down to execution. And we talked yesterday, Mizzou's players aren't as good as their players. A&M's a better team this year. Like that Saturday showed that, no doubt about it. But I also don't think they were always put in the best position. And I do think that, predictability with the play calling is part of that.
Well, on the play calling and maybe necessarily the game planning of how Mizzou approached this, Eli Drinkwitz was also asked about that and whether he thought it was up to snuff for that game.
In any game I've ever been a part of, whether it's a win or a loss, whether I've been calling plays or not calling plays, whether I've been a GA, I've never had an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator not come in and say, I wish I would have handled this situation a little bit better. Or I wish I could have done this differently. And I don't think there's anything about Saturday that, we all don't go back and say, I wish I would have done this differently. I wish I would have said we would have been in safe punt on the third down. And so, the assessments really for all of that stuff for me happens at the end of the year. We're all working right now to try to find a way to improve, figure out what we can do better. How do we play to our players' strengths and find a way to win versus Mississippi State?
So it's another one of those answers that's like, look, we always have things to work on. And he's not going to specifically say this game plan was worse than maybe the others. And look, that's understandable.
I'll say that a number of the recent ones have been bad. And then we can just, we can approach it that way.
Yeah. I
get it that you're always going to come away from games and there's going to be a few where you go, oh man, that would have, like, if we had just done this, that, or the other, you're going to second guess. Like anytime you lose a game, that's going to happen, especially a close loss. This one wasn't close, but you had a couple of very obvious moments, and he would not even prompted specifically about one, brings it up there. He said third down. He meant the fourth down. The fake punt is one where, he wishes they would have been in a preparation to be guarding against a potential fake. Yeah, like when a fake punt happens to you and you weren't prepared for it, that's obviously going to be the reaction. And so, I'm not surprised that he feels that way. But like, that doesn't negate that, it happened and it was a mistake and it was one that was costly within the context of that game. So, you as a coach, I think, and as a staff, you want fewer of those moments coming away from games that you lose or even games that you win. But, there were several of them in this game, and I think there have been several over the past, 3 weeks, 3 games, or whatever it's been, that have been costly to the team.
Well, and he kind of gave a similar answer when asked about the special teams as well. All special teams units, really, he was talking about.
There's rooms for improvement in some of the phases, appreciative of the big kickoff return that Folks had that really got us going and got us back into the game after we scored on that drive to make it 21-7. There's been some ups and downs, but we're all working each week to try to find a way to improve that. And, we're working this week to try to improve our special teams phases.
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, that's
there's what did you take of the short length duration of the press conference? I think you were in the room today.
Yeah, and there weren't all that many questions. It wasn't even just the length of it. It's sure. I think we had a lot of the questions that we needed answered.
Okay,
at least at this point, from what we know can be answered, and maybe with some of that, it just seemed like a little bit different in that sense. And like some of it maybe is the opponent, like it's Mississippi State. Like we kind of know a lot about what they're about and what they do well. And look, he was asked about how much they blitz, because they do blitz a lot. So what do you do? Other than that, it's not like you have to key in on a bunch of different players that really, really scare you.
I mean, the Mizzou's going to be favored in the game. I think that's a little scary when you think about the
but I think
the way the offense looked. But it's right. Yeah, I think it's fair for them to be favored. It's just going to be very interesting to see what the approach ends up being, to see the way that this one ends up playing out. Like, there's a lot of noise surrounding the program, and it's not just like this unfounded noise at this point. You know what I mean? And so into people that would say, well, I saw on this message board or that one, what's going on with Drink. That's not really something I think you alluded to, like the questions that could be asked and there's going to be answers to, and there's not really a lot that's going to, more coaching carousel stuff was just not going to be asked today, and it wouldn't have been answered anyway. So it's not, I'm not saying that should have come up by any means. But it just, maybe that speaks to the thickness of the air in the room in a quick press conference. I don't know. Like, to me, that is the overriding topic. We don't have to pretend that it's not. When you've lost your third game, the CFP is over. That's not going to happen this year. Yeah, the last 3 games matter, and we're going to be excited to see what they make of them. But I think this other thing is going to begin to dominate the conversation outside of those walls, especially because now we're all kind of in that wait and see mode of like, well, what's going to happen now that we know we're not going to make the playoff, and there's a bunch of teams and programs that are looking for a coach, and ours is one that they're reported to be interested in. Like, I guess with all that context, it's not surprising that it was a shorter press conference today, because there's not, like you said, with this game upcoming, I bet there would be more for OU. That's a road game coming up. That's a rivalry opponent. There's a lot of juice to that, but I don't know. Today probably would have been a shorter one, where it's just the questions that the ones I have aren't going to be answered today. So
you're not getting clarity on the questions that will actually matter once the games are done.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's waiting for at the moment. Now, look, if there could be, it's like our texter said here, Glenda, saying, so I presume Drink did not get his extension. No, that has not been announced. At least we don't know. So that's until that happens for 3 more weeks of this season, that'll at least be hanging over the air.
It's all hanging over the air.
Yeah.
And, that's it feels appropriate because, again, it's out there. And you've got boards at Penn State, which I've always looked at the Penn State one and said, one of these is not like the other. That's the one that to me would be scary, because you could make a case for why a coach would go to that over what could be seen as a lateral move elsewhere in the SEC, because you're still dealing with the SEC. You're dealing with that gauntlet. They're adding a 9th game to the schedule. Penn State was always interesting to me, and it sounds like it's interesting to Penn State too. So
yeah,
that's
look,
it's a hard thing to navigate when we got 3 games left, but I I'd be lying if I said that that's not the thing that I'm most anxious to find out about, because that's a bigger picture conversation. And once we know we're not going to make the playoffs this year, I hope we have a great season. Hope we win 9, maybe 8. Told you that 7.5 matters to me. But like,
well, yeah,
bigger picture stuff is now kind of where I'm sitting when I think about this Mizzou football team. I don't know if that's right. And by the way, you will have people on both sides that tell you you're overreacting because nothing's actually happened. But then what do those people say if and when something should come to fruition? And then it's like, well, I mean, it just that happens in college sports sometimes. No, if you want to be angsty about it, be angsty about it. I think it's total crap that you would say, well, you can't be talking about this or thinking about that. It's like, it's in the air.
Well,
it's out there.
I mean,
so
the
we'll
team
see.
can't, but I guess that are there fans that are saying that we can't be angsty about it? Is that what it is?
You've got your factions. You've got people that feel differently about it and say, nothing's actually happened, so why would I be concerned? And I do believe that Mizzou is going to make every push to present and say, here's what makes this still attractive. But we'll see, man. If it gets so far down the road that you're having to pull out the blitz, then I'm like, well,
and look,
that tells a story to me.
They need to bring out the blitz, like pull out all the stops, do
I agree
all
with
of the
that.
things. Like there has been conversation this week that the Zoo fans like, oh, if Drinkwitz gets another job, that's fine. No, folks, like
people were upset on Saturday. People
they
were upset on Saturday.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't be. And look, it does seem like a bit more the same song and dance in those types of games when Mizzou plays a big time opponent, has a chance to take a further step. Let's not lose sight of the steps that have already been taken.
But it's significant to never lose to an opponent that you shouldn't lose to.
Exactly.
That is extremely meaningful.
Yeah.
This coming Saturday is one such game, though, that because it truly over the last 3 years, it's never happened. You can't point to me one game where you go, oh my gosh, Mizzou lost to that team. What was Drink doing? What were no, that's a sign of a healthy operation that has really done. Again, James Franklin couldn't achieve that this year, and therefore he was out of a job. So like it is an accomplishment for us to be able to sit around and go, well, you didn't beat a top 10 team, so I'm upset about it.
There are a lot of teams out there that don't beat top 10 teams. Like, I don't think anyone has a winning record against top 10 teams unless you're named Nick Saban or Kirby Smart. It's just,
I do think there are some that when you look at it and say, okay, with Mizzou not beating the teams with a winning record in conference, that's been a topic that's been thrown around over the last couple of days, and they're over of the last whatever it is 2-3 years. I don't know what the timeline is that people are putting together.
They conveniently cut out 2023, but it's come on.
Was it just the last 2 years in terms of that? I don't know that it was.
Of ranked teams, or what are you saying?
No. I'm talking about a winning SEC record. That end the year with a winning SEC record, which again, if you're going to do that in an 8-game schedule, you're going to go 5-3 at minimum. And so that means for the teams that do accomplish that, they're not losing too many conference games anyway. They're not. But again, there have been teams that have achieved that feat, whereas at Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz's teams have not achieved that feat. But I'll also look and say, okay, some of that's like, was Tennessee not a good win because Mizzou beats them and then knocks them down a peg?
Right,
like,
exactly.
No, that's that. So there's that. That's
Mizzou,
what I mean with
the way you should think
both
about
sides
that,
of this.
The way you
argument.
should think about it is that Mizzou was one of those teams that finished with a winning SEC record, and that it only 5 or 6-ish teams per year get to say that in the SEC.
And you can't play yourself, right? If you're dealing those teams losses, they're more. But within that construct, it is true that Mizzou's team hadn't achieved what some of those other programs have. But you have to be fair and say they also haven't lost the types of games that some of those have lost.
Exactly.
Because it's great to get an upset win, but it's also very relevant to not be the team getting upset. And Mizzou hasn't been upset over the last 3 years. But I will still say that we're going to keep counting these games moving forward. Don't let the foot off the gas. Mississippi State really ought to be a win. So, like, I'm driving that ship and thinking about 2025. But I'm also knowing that nothing that happens between now and the end of the season is going to determine, on the field, is going to determine what the coach decides to do or where he decides to go. I think everything that's going to lay into that decision is going to happen off the field. It's going to happen in conversations about NIL. It's going to happen in conversations from other programs about what they can offer to the coach. So like it's two separate lines right now that I think are so interesting. And Michael on our Facebook comments and says, I want Drink at Mizzou for the long haul, but if he leaves, I'd like to see Colin Klein in our interview list for several reasons. I'm thinking about that too. I'm thinking about, man, if you're going to have a coach that it feels like people at other programs think he's high on the list and willing to listen. So like, if that's the case, I'd be very curious to be the fly on the wall with like Mizzou admin right now of how they're approaching. Because you kind of have to know, hey, are we feeling really good about where we are in the talks we've had with Coach Drinkwitz? And if so, then we're sitting pretty. But I feel like also when these things do happen, the bitter party ends up being the one that wasn't they weren't privy to all of the information, and then it just kind of happens, and then you're kind of caught flat-footed. So it's got to be very difficult right now, I think, to be in Mizzou athletics administration knowing we've got our guy, we want to keep him for as long as we possibly can. But then if it feels like there are just things you're not going to be able to do because you can't determine that, he's got to determine that for himself. Do you have to start going backup plans? Yeah. Do you have to start checking up on Eric Morris at North Texas? Like this is where it's going to get absolutely crazy because this could go a number of directions still. And if you're in that athletic department, like, yeah, man, I think they've got the resources and the financing for us to feel like Drinkwitz doesn't leave because of money. Like they're going to have him positioned with what he feels he needs. I trust that that's true. Yeah. But if then he decides to leave for other reasons, do they say, all right, we've got this money and resources, we were going to use it to keep the coach. If he decides to move along, is that still there for where they want to? Are they going to kind of say, hey, we gotta rally ourselves here and hire another great coach? We had a great coach, and there's got to be a lot of craziness going on in those walls right now.
It is a tough spot to be in, I'm sure, and I don't envy people that have to be in the middle of it because it's tricky. You have to be ready to commit to your guy that you have right now. Like that, you can put a whole lot of focus on that, I'm sure, at the moment.
I think that's the primary because they know it's not like you said. Some people said, I don't care if he leaves. They want to keep him in their right to want to keep him, and they want to assure him that he can win here. Yeah. That's primary number one. That's
you have to be ready to employ contingency plans if, in fact, that doesn't happen. Because
you said timing was going to be so key in all of this.
And look, I think the best case scenario, best case scenario is Drink leaves or not. No, not that.
Whoa!
No, I'm not saying that. I misspoke. Sorry. Best case scenario is Drink stays.
I know.
I just turned into Brenden on Twitter all of a sudden. That's just stupid. Come on.
It was one time.
Why would I do that? Why would I do that? That's an under the bus to me.
The bus.
Yeah, that's on me. But no. Best case scenario, Drink stays. The thing right after that is Drink leaves, but it happens like the week before the conference championships.
Oh, it happens the day after Arkansas
or something like that.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it happens real quick so that you could go, okay, we did our level best and he decided to leave for other reasons.
And a lot of the candidates at that point are still on the board and everything like that. Like you have to hope for that to be the next best scenario.
You can dictate that a little bit. You're not just a completely helpless agency, I think, in all of this. If you're Mizzou, like I bet somebody at Mizzou has the ability to read a message board and go, hey, is this true? And be a little bit more on the forefront of like, hey, if this is going, not today, I'm saying, but like as we get a little bit deeper in November, you go, hey, we've kind of made our pitch and it feels like, we've noticed you haven't signed that piece of paper. Are we at a standstill here? We kind of need to know because we can't be caught flat-footed until after the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? Like we need to make sure that we're continuing the program in our best interest.
That
we hope
happen.
That's with you at the helm.
It
no,
won't
I don't
even,
think so either.
And not even for a bowl game that late. Like even if you were talking about a bowl game that was kind of early.
No, the coach would not stay for the bowl game.
Yeah, that would be. So you would at least
be no
have
reason for either side to do that.
You would at least be starting your search by then. Would your search be complete? I don't know, but like you hope that you can start it as early as possible so that a lot of the good candidates out there, because there is still kind of a shortage of there's a lot of jobs and there's kind of a shortage maybe of good candidates. So
I got a list. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'll be ready to. I'll be ready to. I hope I don't have to use it, and I hope that's how Missouri views it as well. But like, it will feel very unfortunate if this comes to pass. But if he leaves for another job, Missouri football will not cease to exist. Like the athletic department will not close up shop and say, well, we tried for a little bit to be good at football, but now we're done with that. I don't think that's going to happen at all. So if this is taking place, yeah, you're going to be ready to say, all right, we're going to make a splash with the next up-and-comer, or the splash with, I say every day that James Franklin isn't named the coach at Virginia Tech is a good day, because I don't know if we're going to need to give that guy a call at some point. I hope not, but you could do a lot worse. So that's where it's like, yes, primary 1A, drink, sign the paper today, and let's take advantage of all these other schmucks that are going to lose players to the portal, and we're gonna get our pick because we've got that coaching stability. If that doesn't happen, then you have to start to scramble and do so on the fly and do so effectively. Like it's gonna be a lot, but here we are.
Call or text us 573-875-KTGR if you want to give us your thoughts on Mizzou after 9 games now as they get set for Mississippi State. Dan saying the loss Saturday was a gut punch, but why the doom and gloom playing a third-string freshman? Winning the season now is fixing the vanilla offense and developing Zowers. Look, I don't know what can be fixed about the offense. Like, I think the offense is the offense at this point. It can be cleaned up. It can be fine-tuned, but I don't know if there's
better or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stuff like that. Developing Zowers can be a saving grace for all of that. If he can show that you like him as your starter next year, then I think that'd be an excellent positive to bring from the final 3 games if he does that. So,
yeah, I hope he looks great against Mississippi State. Looks more like that Vandy game, and there's a downfield element to the passing attack. He's got more rhythm and timing with the throws, and they're putting him in a better position than they did at times against A&M, which is a really good defense. So you can understand how that might happen. There's still so many things to look at for this current year in the 3 games that are remaining. There's like a cloud over all of it, though, too, because I don't know how fruitful any of it is. This is talking about next year. There's not one player on this roster that I can guarantee who's going to be here next year until I know who's coaching him. And that's
true.
Just
that's also
being a college football fan in 2025. That's what it is.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. All right, coming up, we will have more on everything Mizzou, of course.
We'll have more on. I'll still be here.
At least, that's for sure. But we will talk some NFL injuries next with the injury expert, Will Carroll. He'll join us to talk about Isaiah Pacheco, Jawan Taylor, who else on the Chiefs we have to be watching this week on the injury report as they get set to take on the Broncos. All next on The Big Show.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now wherever you get your apps.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. Have you gotten your tree pruning scheduled yet for this winter? If not, what are you waiting for? Spots are filling up fast, and Advanced Tree Solutions is here to help you out with all of your trees' needs. Certainly through this winter, when your trees go dormant, it is important to get tree pruning done so that once the spring comes around, they grow back healthier and stronger. Otherwise, you might have a whole lot of limbs falling down once the storms hit. So the simple process now of just getting tree pruning done can help your trees grow back stronger and more beautiful once the spring comes around. So call Eric and his excellent team over at Advanced Tree Solutions. Eric knows how to take care of your trees, but also knows how to take care of you, the customer, offers a fair price, gets the work done in a timely manner, safe, efficient, and they're licensed and insured over at Advanced Tree Solutions. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton. Schedule your tree pruning now at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
My name is Nick Rasmussen, and I used Phyllis Nichols to get my life insurance. So I really wanted to get a term policy that would cover us for the next 20 years. For some reason, something happened to me, knowing that my wife was going to be taken care of. Life insurance is a really tricky topic, and working with Phyllis, she talked about all the ins and the outs, what I was getting, why should I do whole life or term, all those different types of products that are out there can be incredibly confusing. Phyllis will sit down and go through all of those with you. I just know that she's always got my best interest at heart, and everybody in town should use her the next time they're getting a quote.
Let's talk numbers, because if you're a fan of stats, you'll want to hear this. Flight by Yuengling has just 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's light beer that actually brings some game day flavor. Whether you're at the tailgate or watching from the couch, Flight delivers that crisp, refreshing taste without the extra baggage. Brewed by the oldest brewery in America, so you know it's legit. Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. DG Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Well, the holidays are going to be here before you know it, and so will the family visits, the gatherings, and all the stress that comes with them. If your to-do list around the house still hasn't been touched, call Bax Homeworks. Their handyman service can take care of those little fixes, updates, and projects you've been putting off. Don't worry, you're not the only one. But that way, you can focus on what really matters. Relieve the stress now. Visit BaxHomeworks.com or find them on Facebook. Bax Homeworks. Getting your to-do list done.
Hello, I'm Doug Frank with Frank Hazelrig Cattle Company, inviting you to join us for our 13th annual Family Values production sale on November 16th. We're offering 80 performance-tested Angus bulls and 90 high-quality females backed by our better over bigger genetic philosophy. It's a great time to be in the cattle business, and it's even better with the right genetics. We're confident you'll find the most quality and value for your money at Frank Hazelrig Cattle Company. Request a catalog and preview videos of the sale offering at FHCCB.
My name is Josh Arnold, and I've been working at Zimmer Communications for over 5 years. When I first started at Zimmer, I was really impressed at all of the resources that they have available to you to succeed. I started at this job right out of college. I think I learned more here my first 3 to 6 months than I did in all of my time in my schooling at college. Working at Zimmer Communications, you really feel like you're part of a team. You don't feel like you're pitted against one another. It's a really fun atmosphere that allows me to excel in my job.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Tired of calling Andy and Brenden? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Back here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brenden here as we talk about more NFL injuries this week. Maybe a big-time quarterback coming in the near future. We shall see. But the Chiefs, of course, for their perspective, they want to make sure they get the ground game going again. And guys like Isaiah Pacheco and Jawan Taylor could be key to that. And here to talk all things injuries, the injury expert Will Carroll on Twitter at Injury Expert, and great insider info on all things Major League Baseball injuries at undertheknife.substack.com. Will, after a bye week for the Chiefs, we know how great they are after bye weeks, of course, under Andy Reid. But as they get healthier, and for Pacheco's specific injury with the knee sprain that he suffered, what's the latest that you think for him as he tries to get back to game speed?
All the indications were this is a very minor knee sprain. It was probably an MCL, though we haven't had them confirm that yet. I imagine we'll know more this week. They tend to be very transparent, as we've talked about. So I expect him to be relatively normal. You know, he's not a big cutting guy. It's not like he has to be able to put his foot in the ground and accelerate out. He's more of a violent runner. He's more of a downhill runner. And style does count to the contact. So I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and we'll see how he looks for this next game against the Broncos, where the Chiefs will have to make sure against that pass rush that Patrick Mahomes is as upright as possible. That means probably making sure that Jawan Taylor is as healthy and ready to go as he can. With the ankle injury, what do you see as the sense for him as they try to get him back? And, of course, also Josh Simmons coming back from his personal issues that he had to deal with back home.
Yeah, the thing about this is I go back to, it had to be 2008 or 2009, that Aaron Schatz, who was at Football Outsiders then, one of the smartest football guys I know, he did a whole piece and this giant research project talking about consistency on offensive lines. Now, this was year over year, that offensive lines tended to get better the longer they were together. Part of this is that you were keeping talent. Part of it was communication. Part of it is that you didn't feel the need to upgrade. But consistency week to week is the same thing. Whether it's Mahomes kind of knowing that timing in his head and it being thrown off, whether somebody doesn't know the playbook as well, that he doesn't know what the guy next to him might do, forgets exactly who the hot pickup is, those kind of things do matter. So when somebody gets their ankle rolled the way that Taylor did, you do worry. Now, I haven't heard him say high ankle. Again, we'll have more information as they start practicing this week. But that would be the big key. That would keep him out for weeks. hopefully this is just one of those things where you get rolled up. This is part of it. I wish the NFL did more on bracing. You see, if you watch the college game, you see a ton of braces. You'll see every lineman out there in braces. And we know that they work. So the NFL players, heck, I guess we can't make these guys wear, full pants now anymore. They're, rolling them up to God knows where. So putting another brace on them might not be what they want, but it sure would help.
Will, I want to ask you about what we saw happen with the New York Giants this week. They're leading the Chicago Bears. Jackson Dart gets concussed, and he's now in the protocol. And as a result of him exiting the game for Russell Wilson, the Giants lose that game, and the powers that be say, no more, Brian Daboll. That's the final straw. What's the status of Dart, and how much do you think kind of the battering ram that he has been for the Giants this year maybe played into the decision to let go of Daboll when they did?
I didn't understand why Daboll was there. I know he had success with Josh Allen, but how much of that was Josh Allen and what they built up there? They never gave him that quarterback who could do those. And I think the thing you really have to look at is what Daniel Jones has been doing. Now, he's shown signs the last couple of weeks that maybe he's slipping back into that throw too quick, throw off the back foot thing. But, man, when you take a guy that you just discarded and he starts the season 7-2, it might be you. It's like, I forget who the joke was about. I think it was Halle Berry. It was like, why do people keep breaking up with Halle Berry? She's gorgeous. I'm like, there's got to be something. So at this point, you really have to worry about that for the Giants, whether they're going to keep anybody. Is it another wholesale change? Remember, there are some issues at the top. I forget exactly which of the Maras has cancer. You hope that's something that can be controlled. The next generation of ownership will be interesting, given that we all know who the daughters are. So with concussions on Dart, they usually clear up. Sometimes they can take longer, and we're getting better at treating them.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Now, this quarterback who has missed most of the year potentially could be coming back here. Joe Burrow for the Bengals, dealing with the toe injury that he suffered very early on, but I believe they brought him back to practice. He officially returned yesterday to start that 21-day window, and it could be a Thanksgiving return for him. Do you expect that, or how do you view them handling Joe Burrow now with this team?
With Burrow, let's key in on what that was. That was more than just your simple turf toe injury. This was a full rupture of that ligament plus tearing of what's called the plantar plate. So they had to basically reconstruct his toe. Think of it as like full-on ACL surgery for the toe. It does have a fairly high level of success. It doesn't take terribly long, but you do put stress on it. Now, I don't know, haven't been able to confirm, but given this time frame, I'm very, very curious if he's got an internal brace in there that is making this even safer to bring him back at this stage. So either way, what it's going to come down to is, can he move? Can he start? Can he stop? And again, he's not a terribly mobile quarterback. That's not his game the way that it is for somebody like Dart. But he's got to be able to move, if only for his own personal protection. So he's an upgrade. They had to go out and get Joe Flacco. They could make a late season run. Burrow's good, and they've got talent there. But I think we'll know very, very quick. I think if he's moving well, it won't be this week, but it would not surprise me if it's next week, if he makes it through without any real setbacks.
Will, I'm curious for your thoughts on the latest for New York Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson, who dealing with a knee injury, and it's unclear exactly the duration that he could be missing, but it doesn't seem he'll be back right away.
No, they're saying 3 to 4 weeks, which makes me think it's an MCL. The ligament on the inside of the knee keeps it from going side to side. That it's a low-grade sprain, but he is going for second opinions, and that's always a little intriguing, and especially when everything has gone wrong for the Jets. You wonder if some of these players are checked out. It's not like they're looking to get injured, but it is kind of like a red flashing sign above the door if that's what you really want to do. Tough spot for Wilson. We'll see how this goes. If it is a low-grade MCL sprain, he'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks.
The injury expert Will Carroll here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Over to baseball, Will, where the story doesn't necessarily involve injuries, but it is still a big story with the two Cleveland Guardians pitchers that are now facing a federal indictment for their involvement in an alleged gambling scandal centered around the first pitch types, whether it's a ball or a strike, velocities, and things like that. Obviously, a big story that we learned about earlier, but now it's official that they're facing these federal charges. Now, what do you kind of see as the fallout for this, not just for those two pitchers or the Guardians or the league, but just in general, how we view this market essentially?
Yeah, that's the thing is, we all think about the Black Sox scandal. We think about point shaving. We think about people throwing games. We never really thought about people throwing pitches. And that's what this is. It's a really multifactorial thing. On the first level, baseball and the integrity companies, the people like Genius and U.S. Integrity that watch the betting flows. When something unusual happens, they catch it quick. When all of a sudden there's big money on Terry Rozier for the under on what was it, 6 points? When a guy who throws 100 miles an hour is throwing sliders and shaking off his catcher, those are the kind of things that tip them off, and they check it. And in this case, there was enough evidence. Baseball passed it on to the U.S. attorneys who were able to follow him around. The thing about Clase and Ortiz is a lot of people assumed that because they were Latin, that either this was some sort of gang activity, that they were threatening their families. We've heard about things like that, or that they were profligate and bad with their money, so they were deep in debt. The way that we're hearing for the basketball coach. But it doesn't appear that was the case. It just appears that despite making major league salaries, and Clase was making something like $4.5 million, they were just loading up and wanting a cut of what they were doing. They were doing it as a favor to friends, so they definitely need better friends. So I think there's a number of things here. First off, if it's not the normal reasons they're doing it, that certainly indicates that more people are doing it. Hopefully the system is strong enough. But the other is that this is so tough, this pitch by pitch parlay stuff, where you can stack these things together, where you can build your own, adventure. It's really, really tough to watch. Throwing games, we get. You can see when somebody does it. You can see when Tim Donaghy was blowing calls to move the spread. So this is one we're not going to be able to see. We've got to count on the data behind the scenes. And this is the first thing that Rob Manfred has to do. He has to absolutely unload on these two. He has to make an example of them, which is difficult because that idiot president made them pardon Pete Rose. So they're going to take this to court. They're going to say, you know what? President just said it was fine. They're not going to be able to throw the book at him nearly as hard. And this is one with the conspiracy charges that has a lot of jail time to it. So Manfred's got to do something. And I would like to see the gambling companies step up. They made the quick work of that we're not going to do exactly what these guys were doing. There's enough other things. I want to see them step up and say, we're not going to take these. They're not so big money that they're going to lose it on the bottom line. So I want to see what the gambling companies are going to do.
It will be interesting here very soon. Will, what's new at Under the Knife?
2 pieces today and tomorrow. They're both free, so you can go to undertheknife.substack.com, sign up for everything. But 2 pieces going really deep on why this is so important to baseball and to society.
So go and check it out. Again, free for that content there this week over at undertheknife.substack.com. Great to catch up with the injury expert, Will Carroll, here on the Big Show KTGR. Thanks for coming on, Will. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Big Show's on at 4:45, KTGR and the KTGR app. Interesting stuff from Will in an angle that I didn't think of. Like I assumed, Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase, they're done. They're banned for life, which they probably still are, but the fact that Major League Baseball just pardoned Pete Rose, essentially, like that does add a wrinkle to it.
Yeah, I think there's an element of time served there a little bit, and the posthumous aspect of it. I those guys are done. They'll never.
I would think so. You would have to.
I promise you, they're done.
Yeah. To as Will said, you have to nip this in the bud, and so that would be MLB's hope to make sure that they do that. But we'll see how that situation plays out. Onto the bus coming up next. We're gonna keep doing it until the NFL decides to officiate it properly. Like it is going to continue to be an under the bus for as long as it needs to be. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermas, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lease Tire Company. If it's around in rubber, Lease sells it. LeaseTireCompany.com. Mizzou football head coach Eli Drinkwitz spoke with the media today following last week's loss to Texas A&M. Drinkwitz addressed the media about the Aggies possibly calling out some of the Tigers' plays, saying that the coaching staff needs to check their tendencies as well as be better with their communication and signaling. The team will be honoring their seniors prior to this weekend's matchup against Mississippi State. Kickoff for that one is set for 6:45 on 96.7 KCMQ. The Kansas City Chiefs buzz around Arrowhead Stadium is heating back up this week. Earlier today, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe proposed a potential renovation to Arrowhead Stadium that would put in place an all-weather protective covering over top the stadium, as reported by David Lieb of the Associated Press. Governor Kehoe said that there have been no discussions of building a dome stadium in Missouri, though similar talks have happened for a dome stadium in Kansas City, Kansas. The Chiefs will return to the gridiron this Sunday as they head on the road to take on the Denver Broncos at 3:25. And Mizzou women's basketball is back in action this evening from Mizzou Arena, taking on the Arkansas State Red Wolves. Tip-off for tonight's game against the Red Wolves is at 6:30 right here on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is next.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight with temperatures dropping down to the mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow is warmer. We'll see mostly sunny skies with high temperatures in the low to mid 60s. Tomorrow night's warmer with temperatures falling down into the 40s. We'll see warmer temperatures in the mid to upper 60s on Thursday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Did you miss the Mizzou play of the week?
Inside handoff, running right. Hardy, second level, between the hash marks to the 30. Foot race to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, to the house. Touchdown, Ahmad Hardy. With 6:45 to play. Rambles in from 45, and Missouri cuts the lead to 31-16.
The Mizzou play of the week is powered by Yingling. Your home for Mizzou football is KTGR.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
Columbia's best Black Friday gun sale is at Minutemen Defense. November 18th through the 29th, everything except ammo is on sale. Big giveaways November 28th and 29th, including merch, ammo bundles, and Cerakote packages. Don't miss Friday and Saturday specials, plus tiered savings on STAC gear. Shop their website now through Black Friday and use the code RADIO at checkout for a special Black Friday discount on your purchase. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com. Minutemen Defense off I-70 in Rangeline.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
Where did I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
With Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this Chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a Chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all Chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on the big show.
Tush push again under
the bus.
Like, it's comical at this point how badly the false starts are being missed, to the point where I don't even know if the officials are paying attention to the game.
I don't know how they're missing it at this point, honestly.
Throw the damn flag. Like, what are we doing here?
It's clear. Both guards are like,
both of them.
They've already done the
Their
whole
helmets
play.
are past the ball before
man.
it snapped. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
There is a ref standing on the line of scrimmage to look at that, and they just, I don't know. They're
man.
so excited to see what Jalen Hurts is going to do that they can't possibly be bothered.
Sure. That's great for them. Also, under the bus to whatever dumb FBS or NCAA rules, whatever it is that's keeping Missouri State out of a bowl game right now. Ryan Beard, I think he said that they're going to formally appeal the NCAA that they should be in a bowl game. They got to 6 wins their first year in FBS. They're in the Conference USA, got to 6 wins, and that means you should play in a bowl game. You get to 6 wins. I don't care how long you've been in FBS. You should play in a bowl game. This happened to James Madison, I believe, a couple years ago, and they were really good, and they couldn't play in a bowl game. Missouri State should play in one, too.
Yeah, it's weird to me. It's an antiquated rule. I think it was originally in place to keep an FCS school from, like, recruiting and having one really good team and saying, hey, now's the time, jump on it. Let's move up to FBS, and then, like, not being able to sustain it. And so they're like, in theory, they're not ready, but they can kind of take advantage of that one moment. But like these programs, they're good enough in your eyes to move them up. If you've already moved them up, they're not just going to drop back down the next year. Like, I just think it's an antiquated thought process, and it's harmful when you have stories like this, and then you say, no, we don't want to go out of our way to highlight them. I just think that's crazy.
I think it is too. It's just
under the bus.
They've had an excellent year. I think that's a pretty darn good coach they got, and they should be rewarded for it. Also, LSU, man, why are they trying to just gaslight everybody?
The $54 million.
Yeah, the $54 million. They're trying to get out of paying Brian Kelly $54 million. The reason why now is because apparently they're claiming that they didn't technically officially fire Brian Kelly, and now they're trying to find a way to fire him for cause. Sorry, I don't think this is going to work, LSU. I think you're going to have to pony up.
I didn't think this could get more dysfunctional. I really didn't, but I was wrong.
It's getting that way. So
under
the bus.
You got a weird governor that's in charge of everything, I guess, and the whole buyout situation. Who's the AD? Like, it's
nightmare.
A mess.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
If you have not thanked a veteran today, do so on this Veterans Day. The excellent, brave, and just the men and women that protect us each and every day deserve our kudos more so than just this day. But especially on this day, they do. And so thank a veteran today. If you haven't already, thank you so much to all of you who are currently serving, have served, will serve, and thank you for keeping us safe.
No doubt about that. Well-deserved recognition. And like you said, not just on the one day out of the year, but today in particular, and make sure to acknowledge that.
And great tributes all across the sports world as well for Veterans Day. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. You want to weigh in on anything Mizzou related, college football playoff related. We may have a few predictions for what the poll could look like tonight at 5:25. But we also want what you thought was good and bad and ugly from week 10 of the NFL season now that it is in the books. So give us your calls and texts on that. Be sure to also comment on our YouTube channel where you can watch the show. youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. You can find us on Facebook Live as well, at KTGR Big Show as well. And so be sure to subscribe to all those channels as we go to the good, the bad, and the ugly here in a few minutes. And we also talk with Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach, at 5:45.
Hey, Lenny. George, good to see you. Yeah, well, it ain't so good to see you, pal. I wish you'd kept quiet all those years. Family Pawn's got all the hunting gear people need to do exactly that. Bows, scopes, ammo, everything. Doing what, George? Look at you, mounted on the wall for everybody to see. Not gonna lie, George. I sort of like hanging around. Their fireplace feels real nice.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
I want to go to Family Pawn.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Sticklin.
And I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald of the Sticklin and Sticklin Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field,
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Sticklin and Sticklin.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need a Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Mavericks are in the market for a new GM. They've been stuck in neutral since the head-scratching trade of Luka Doncic, an NBA star in his prime, to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, who has missed 30 of 44 regular season games since the deal. The Mavs today fired the man behind the trade, general manager Nico Harrison. ESPN NBA analyst Janae Agwumike.
This has been the most catastrophic, probably, series of unfortunate events
as it pertains to someone's decision making. And I know that there are some circumstances out of his control. Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, their availability, but still, you're supposed to go out there and give your team a better shot by constructing a roster that works. Seeing just a number of them not doing as well as they should have been to start the year, this makes sense.
Assistant GMs Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi will lead Dallas's basketball operations department on an interim basis. Right knee soreness was sidelined 76ers center Joel Embiid tonight against the Celtics. He has had several issues with his left knee over the years. NFL Jaguars top receiver, cornerback Travis Hunter, will miss the rest of this season following surgery to repair the LCL in his right knee.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
As always, good, bad, and ugly from the NFL. Week 10, we'll have ours in a few minutes. We want yours, too. Call or text us with them, 875-KTGR. Leave a comment on our YouTube channel or on Facebook as well to tell us what was good and bad and ugly from NFL Week 10. Some predictions on what we could see in the college football playoff rankings. And at 5:45, Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach, talks about Tiger Style Wrestling winning the Tiger Style Invite this past Sunday and an interesting tournament they'll be playing in this weekend over in Tulsa. We'll discuss that and more, but first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Yeah, those CFP rankings will be updated again tonight because it's Tuesday. Mizzou was 22, but yeah, they're probably going to fall out of the CFP top 25 when those are revealed a little bit later this evening. They did fall out of the AP poll after the loss to Texas A&M. Coaches still have Mizzou at number 24, so shout out to the coaches. But yeah, let's forget about the rankings. Like, all that's left right now is trying to win the games you have remaining, finish with a respectable season. Maybe you can develop Matt Zollers and you can see progress from him. Those are valuable things. Unfortunately, I just can't think of very many Mizzou conversations without also turning my thoughts to the coaching carousel that is potentially going to impact the Tigers. Whether Drink leaves or stays, like, there is a conversation swirling, and man, clarity would be nice. I just don't think we're getting it anytime soon.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Maybe did get some clarity from Coach Dennis Gates about Sean Phillips. He missed the last game on Sunday against VMI with an illness. Expected to be ready to go for the Tigers game tomorrow night at Mizzou Arena, taking on Minnesota. That's a fun matchup, a return trip from a road game last year. I think the key for the Tigers moving forward to continue on the path that they established against VMI on Sunday in a blowout win, Anthony Robinson. I think he has to continue to play more like he did on Sunday, less like we saw on Friday when he was kind of turning the ball over, not as decisive in his decision-making. A good Anthony Robinson can lead this team, even while Anwar Boateng, Trent Pierce remain out, as is expected for Wednesday.
Number 3.
Love the message from Missouri State head coach Ryan Beard on the antiquated rule that states that teams jumping from FCS to FBS, like Missouri State did this year, have a bowl ban for 2 years. He said, if you want a good football game, if you want guys that love to compete and love to play football and represent what college football is truly about, put the Missouri State Bears in a bowl game. I agree with him. So how about this? Mizzou and Missouri State in the Mayo Bowl. Let's make it happen. Who says no?
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Isaiah Pacheco's status for this upcoming week, uncertain. We'll see what ends up happening, but it does not look necessarily as good as we were hoping to see when originally, before the bye, we thought Pacheco could be back. I really don't know how much it matters for the Chiefs. Their run game is ancillary to what Mahomes can do through the air.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Nico Harrison fired by the Dallas Mavericks today. And I saw that last night the owner was having a conversation with a kid who was wearing a Lakers Luka jersey. Did that inspire the firing today?
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
I can't get over the Mizzou Missouri State Bowl game talk. I'm sorry.
What do you think? Mayo Bowl?
No.
You don't think so? Interim coach Kirby Moore gets the mayo poured on him after knocking off the rivals from Springfield. Just kidding. I don't know who the interim would be.
First of all, it's impossible. It wouldn't happen in that bowl game. Secondly,
I know.
I don't think it could happen in any bowl game.
I knew
the way the tie-ins are worked out. There's no way.
Bowl affiliations that I knew I wasn't going to look it up for the joke. Like the Mayo Bowl is just the funniest one to me.
Yeah,
or like you could do the Pop-Tart Bowl, like the winner gets to be shot out of a Pop-Tart cannon or something.
Whatever it is, I don't know.
But no, I do think Missouri State should be in a bowl game.
They should. I mean, yes, absolutely. Put them in somewhere.
They ban you for 2 years from postseason
That's
after
dumb.
you go from FCS to
Dumb.
FBS. And it just, I guess Marshall with like Chad Pennington and Randy Moss back in the 90s, that was a thing where like, I don't know, they had this loaded roster and then you jump up and maybe your program in terms of like the infrastructure is not ready for it. But I just think it's bogus when the NCAA has no real rules to adhere to, that they say, well, you've got to get up to FBS standard with all your, whatever minutia details about your program. It's just dumb. I don't think it should be. And then like, oh, if we don't have enough teams, then we can maybe put you in one if we want to. Like, we're just making this up as we go along. I don't think it's fair to
we are, because I think they eventually put James Madison in a bowl game. I want to say, did they that year? I want to say it was a couple years ago.
Several years ago. I think they did.
But
maybe
they had like a
10-win
season or like 10, 11
really
wins,
good.
whatever it was.
But no, I don't.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but no, I did not care about the affiliations for the sake of the joke. I just needed it to be the Mayo Bowl. Sometimes when you're doing a bit, you just got to roll with the bit.
Just got to get to the bit.
This is not a bit though. I wonder did you see this? The Patrick Dumont, that is the owner of the Mavericks now. Evidently, this kid had flipped off the owner, is what it was said. Like he flipped him off at the first game, and the dad of the kid said, "You're not going to another game until you apologize to that man," which is just saying that's not the way you conduct yourself. And so it's a parenting moment, but also kind of interesting. Like he goes and he gets access to be able to talk to the owner, obviously to apologize, but he does so in a Luka Doncic Lakers jersey and still kind of is able to express that, his thoughts on the trade. And of course, that's a bright yellow. You can see what that is from the press box. The people who cover the Mavericks then got a chance and they talked with this kid. And so he kind of recounts some of the conversation. And basically, the owner was kind of like, yeah, I know we've got to do some things better and try to win back the fan base after, this trade that hasn't gone so well so far.
Luck.
And then they fired Nico the next morning. Like I don't think that's coincidental timing. I wonder if that conversation, if this kid somehow broke through with just like an honest conversation about, representing the fan base for the Dallas Mavericks, and if that was maybe like the final straw. I don't know. And like they've started the season
so poorly. Are you
so
saying
poorly.
that the kid said, what would be great if you could?
No, I don't think he said fire the guy, but I think he was just maybe having an honest conversation with a fan, and that might have just let the light bulb go off for the owner to go, we're not going to win people back after this. This is going to have to happen. And so why wait
around?
I wonder if that honestly, and again, this was just some stuff we had seen on social media, but I think that is, it's, if nothing else, very coincidental timing. But is it possible that the kid kind of gave the aha moment to the owner through a conversation where he was, according to what I saw, designed to apologize to the owner for his gesture toward him, responding to this trade, but then still kind of got a chance to speak his mind. I don't know how old the kid was. He looked like teenager, whatever, but like, that's kind of crazy that
if that's how it happened, then that's a little unfair to Nico Harrison, even though he made an absolutely terrible trade.
So.
But here's the thing. Here's how I view it. Like, yes, Nico Harrison was the one that made the trade officially. Whether it was him who wanted to, or whether it was somebody else who wanted to, like namely the owner, because maybe he told, Nico Harrison, sorry, I don't want to pay Luka Doncic all this money. I don't know how it all worked out. There's been reporting, I'm sure, on it when it's all said and done. But the thing is that Patrick Dumont needs to wear a lot of this stuff too. Like obviously Nico Harrison has, and he got fired for it, and he should have been fired for it because of the awful nature of the trade, and that's most likely not going to work out for the Mavs' favor. But the owner doesn't get to be fired, and the owner should still, I think, wear the same amount that Nico Harrison did on this, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's hard to do when you own the team. You can't fire the owner, and so he's always going to end up in a better position. But yeah, I think that was step number one. I mean, it was a dumb trade. It was for dumb reasons, and ownership obviously had to sign off and approve of it. And so, but that was going back to the Mavs making the conference or winning the conference finals, and they take a beer out of Luka's hands when he is like celebrating with his team. Like, no, you don't get to have a beer with your team celebrating. Like, this Nico dude had to go. He was bad news. I'm glad he's fired.
I'm not going to say that I'm glad that anybody's fired, but
I don't know why you can't say it. Like, it's a great day for Mavs fans.
It's all that.
No, you sound like one, though. You sound like you're wishing
I'm not a
that
Mavs fan. Not.
The dude that was ruining the Dallas Mavericks has been fired, and now they have to have a chance to fire some.
Well, maybe the owner could be ruining the Dallas Mavericks too. That's entirely possible.
I do think they're in a worse spot than when Mark Cuban was calling the shots. That's for sure. But can't change the owner. Like, all you can do is
this is the highest possible person you can change, and so they changed him. Which
you can
is fine.
The owner to sell, but
yeah,
I don't know.
875-KTGR if you want to call or text us your thoughts on the Nico Harrison firing, if you want to send your thoughts on that. But
good riddance.
Yeah, we'll get to more of that, but let's get to more of this first. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly music for us here on The Big Show. Every time an NFL weekend concludes, like it did last night in that barn burner of a 10-7 game between the Eagles and the Packers. Tell us what you thought was good and bad and ugly from this past weekend of NFL football, with no Chiefs in it, obviously, on the bye. 573-875-5847.
Did they win the bye week?
Did they win the bye week? I mean, shoot. Why wouldn't they?
I don't know.
I mean, they always win after the bye week, so you have to assume that they would win the bye week. What's Andy Reid's record?
A lot, too little?
Exactly. So I would say, sure, they won the bye. They got Josh Simmons back. There you go. Back in the building, that's a win. We'll see who else can get healthy. Guys like Isaiah Pacheco, Juwan Taylor, things like that. I'll start with last night's game being ugly.
That was gross.
That was awful offensive showing from both sides.
They're good defenses, and I kind of thought you might get that sort of game. Not to that point, not to that extent.
And Nick Sirianni got away with a very terrible call on the 4th down decision.
Yeah, what's going on with that? What would you have done, first of all?
Punt
What was the right play?
Punt.
Yeah,
Punt.
you punt and you make them go the length of the field
with no
or
timeouts.
to get into field goal range without...
Even if it's a touchback. Like, so what? You're still pushing them back 15 yards. Push them back something and make them earn it.
And you could have had a really favorable chance to pin them deep. And so that was weird to me. And again, even if you were going to go for it too, the play call was like, you don't need all those yards. You're just trying to get 6 yards to. Right. It was weird. It was a strange. I was cool with it because I was hoping for overtime for more fantasy points, but obviously didn't get that. It was strange. You're right though. Sirianni got away with it. I thought I had this weird feeling the Eagles would win the game. I mentioned in as we were talking about Mizzou, Josh Jacobs talking about a 4th down play call that I think turned into a fumble, but he could hear the defense calling out their play, and he said it kind of made him nervous to run to the inside that was designed because he knew that they knew it was coming, and so it made him second guess the play in the middle of the play, which was obviously not great for the running back to be feeling that way about the play call. So I don't know, man. Packers fans are upset about that. They're upset about the offense. Like, there's people are doing the talking head thing about Jordan Love, like what's going on. It's the Packers should be better than this. They should be better than this. So I'll say that's kind of ugly for them to lose that home game against another NFC contender.
How are there 2 10-7 final scores just this week?
It's weird.
Yeah, first game of the week, Broncos Raiders. Last game of the week, Eagles Packers. Just
bookends.
Like, come on. I assume that I would have predicted something like that for Broncos Raiders, honestly.
We're back to ugly primetime games, I guess.
We expect them on Thursday night. I don't know if we always expect them on Monday night, though.
No, not always. Sundays was kind of a snoozer, too. The Chargers, though, they're a good team, man. Like, give them the credit. That's good, and they're 7-3. The Chiefs are going to have their work cut out to win this division. They just are. I mean, both the Broncos and the Chargers just don't want to lose right now.
It is tough to navigate.
Like, they're way back. They're way back right now of this thing.
2.5 behind the Broncos. It can be 1.5 though. It just changed. Like just one game can do it.
They're gonna need it.
And then you don't like you can just beat the Chargers and get a split in that head to head. Like things can be in their favor very quickly here in the second half of the season.
But frankly, I think the Chiefs did not win the bye week because of the way that played out.
Like
where
those
the Broncos
results
and the Chargers
played out. I suppose
if you lose to the Broncos this week, division's done, right? They'd be 9-2,
you no longer. It's no longer in the conversation. Like at that point, you shift a bit more of your focus to teams that are across the rest of the AFC, and you think about wild card. You're right. But look, I don't think that was unexpected to see both the Chargers and the Broncos win this week. Like the Raiders stink.
They're both favored.
Steelers are inconsistent, if you ask me. So I think we could have expected that at least that was going to make it a little bit tougher.
I agree. I'm just pointing out this is a big game.
It's a huge game.
It's everything for the division.
So we'll see what it looks like for the Chiefs. And I think as a result of that, coming off a bye, realizing how huge it is, I would say that I believe the Chiefs will be just fine in the game. But I guess we'll have more thoughts on that.
What time is it? What's the window that this game is in?
It's the 3:25.
Okay.
So
not like a Friday at 7 just to make sure everybody gets to see it or something.
Yeah, it's Tuesday at noon or whatever. It'll be in the prime position for CBS, I'm sure.
I'm excited for that.
So it should be an excellent, showcase of the two teams. But
do you know the spread? Have you looked?
I have not looked at what the spread
Take a guess then. Take a guess if you haven't.
I'm going to say that the Broncos are favored by 1.5.
Broncos favored at home. The survey says the Chiefs are -3.5.
Oh, baby, let's go. See, here's the thing. They agree with me a little bit on this.
Wow.
The way that the metrics match up, because a lot of that, at least to start out the week, is based on the metrics and how teams have been success rate, and a lot of how these teams look factors into it.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
Chiefs have looked excellent winning these games. The Broncos have not looked excellent getting to their 8 wins.
I kind of like the points a little bit, but I'll have to think. I have not thought too hard about it yet.
Okay.
That's an interesting line. That's an interesting line.
And look, it's not what I would have guessed. I obviously guessed differently, but thinking about it, it's kind of how I expect the game to go, if you ask me.
You weren't guessing because of what you thought was going to happen in the game. You were trying to gauge Vegas and what they might be doing. Yeah.
We'll see what that looks like. But for all other games, tell us what you thought was good and bad and ugly from the
I've got
weekend.
a good.
Yeah, go ahead.
And producer Ben agrees. Brendan's Drake May preseason MVP bet is in the good. Got a big win over.
Very good. Yeah.
Got a big win over. Matt Stafford could be a problem for me, but big win over Baker Mayfield on the road. Had a great throw that kind of put the Pats in the red zone. He did throw an interception into double coverage to kind of put some doubt into it. So let's work on that, Drake May. But I mean, the Patriots. What can you say now, Andy? At this point, I mean, they're just away.
I will not say anything on it. I will keep my mouth shut. I won't. I won't do the whole slandering thing for at least a few more weeks until they get
that division might be kind of done and dusted at this point.
I mean, Bills aren't all that far off.
No, it's a game and a half. And they're only one in the loss column.
And they get one more.
Play each other.
Yeah, they get one more game against the Patriots. It is in New England though, so a little bit tougher. Schedule, I think, lines up pretty well for
Bengals,
both teams.
Giants, and then the Bills, the game for the Pats. So, like, the Pats may not lose a game prior to, I hope they don't anyway, prior to that rematch on December the 14th.
I mean, getting that one over the Bucs was the key for them to have the proving ground of like, we can go and beat a solid team like the Buccaneers on the road, because they've been doing a lot of this against the Saints, the Titans, the Browns. But now they've got more proof of concept along with the Buffalo win. They've got that one too. So we'll see there. And I mean, where do you put the Bills?
Yeah, there's nothing worse than what they did.
Yeah, man.
Ugly, terrifying, pathetic. It's the Dolphins, dude. We're talking about the Dolphins. You lost 30-13. I don't know what to make of them as a team. Like, that impacts how I think about the Bills. Sometimes you can have a letdown game, and it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. We've done that with the Chiefs a couple of times where we're like, we're not out on the Chiefs just because of their record being kind of mediocre to this point. But how am I gonna trust the Bills to not have another stinker like that thrown in? I mean, it just came out of nowhere. They handled the Chiefs, then they do this. It's bizarre. Bizarro world, Josh Allen.
Again,
Josh Allen was bad.
They had a Super Bowl hangover. They won their Super Bowl, and then they had a hangover next
right.
week.
Josh Allen was the reason they lost, in addition to their run defense. Like, Allen, how many times he turned the ball over? He turned it back into, like, rookie year Josh Allen, where we're talking about
he had an interception and lost a fumble.
Too.
Yeah, so 2 turnovers. Yep.
He was not good. He was not good, and was part of the reason that team lost 2 fumbles. I don't know if they were both his.
James Cook also lost one.
Cook had one too. It was bad, man. 30-13. They got routed by the Dolphins, who I don't think that says more about the Dolphins than it does the Bills. I think that game was about the Bills.
I can't disagree. They've got to pick themselves up right away, because now they have the Bucks.
And they're going to want to win.
They have the Texans. Oh, wow. Oh,
what?
So glorious to have Mills Mafia back.
That game was bizarre. What was the score going into the fourth quarter?
Let me do the math here. 29-10.
29-10. So is that more about the Jags or the Texans?
Well,
are we going to say good on the Texans?
I'm sure it is both. A little bit of both. You have to think. Jaguars, like, when you let that happen, it's not just your defense screwing up. It's your offense not giving your defense a chance to find their footing to close the game out. Like, you got to do something. And they ended up with not all that great offensive statistics as a result, even though they did really well to start out. But part of that was a punt return touchdown that they got in the second quarter. So not every touchdown that the Jaguars had was an offensive one. But yeah, defensively, just breaking down against Davis Mills is that's hard to swallow.
I think the was it Will Anderson that ran in the final touchdown? That
I think it was somebody else. I can't remember.
Was it? Either way, they run in that touchdown. That flipped the point spread too, I think.
Did it? I was thinking. I thought the Texans were not favored.
I think it switched at some point in the week to where it was one. It was kind of like the Mizzou Auburn thing,
right?
But yeah, that's yikes. That was a bad. There've been some crazy comebacks in the league this year, and that was certainly one of them. And big one for the Texans to secure. But the Jaguars, I want to believe, but they just are that team right now that I'm like, I don't think I can trust anything you might do after a loss like that.
Will Anderson forced the fumble.
He forced the fumble.
Sheldon Rankins recovered it and scored.
Big boy. Yeah.
That was a big time touchdown for him. But the Texans, maybe
good for them.
Does it happen for them? I mean, they're still
4-5.
They're 4-5, but
I'm gonna say no.
The next team out of the AFC playoff picture is 5-4. It's still
but that's a team that you're guaranteeing is going to make it. The
Chiefs.
Like, they're going to eat up one of those.
Jacksonville is in there. Buffalo.
The Ravens are. I'm just telling you, Ravens, Steelers. That's still going to be a thing. Joe Burrow apparently maybe back by Thanksgiving. I don't think the Bengals have what it takes, but if they accidentally win their next game at the Steelers, that changes the dynamic for sure. Getting Burrow back. I just think the Texans are not. They're not going to end up doing enough offensively to convince me that they can be where they need to be.
Well, especially if Davis Mills is leading you for several games. I think Stroud should be back. It's concussion protocol, but
probably another week.
Yeah, we'll see on that.
But the Colts that's done. The Colts, congratulations on the AFC South. That's over now.
It is a pretty insurmountable lead at the moment, or feels that way. And the Colts' remaining schedule is pretty manageable. They get the Jaguars and the Texans twice.
So that will be important.
Yeah,
I don't see them like
more than half their schedule remaining. Gosh.
Yeah, that's backloaded.
So,
for sure.
look, the Texans and Jags will get their shots at having their say in it. But the other games, other than that, are the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. Those are all pretty tough games.
Yeah. And by the way, I cannot wait for Rams Seahawks this weekend because those are two teams that just decimated divisional rivals at 3 p.m. on Sunday. 44-22 Seahawks, and it was way worse than the score looked. I think it was like 35-0 at one point. 42-26 for the Rams. Like, Seahawks-Rams, I don't know who the best team in the NFC is, but it might be the team that wins that game on Sunday because those are two teams that have just been rolling people when they get going.
I think it's the Seahawks.
You think they're going to win that game? I don't know what the spread is, but I can't wait for that game. There's some fun games this coming week.
There really is a good slate this weekend.
It's Rams are -2.5. They're at home in this game. As much as you can be at home in Los Angeles.
You've got Lions, Eagles, too. That's a big one there.
And the Lions rolled the Commanders, which I expected. That was one where I'm like, okay, the Commanders, they just are not that team this year.
Right.
Dan Quinn taking over as defensive coordinator, though. He's trying to figure out like why their defense has gotten so bad. I'll be curious to see if that helps. But it's been ugly. But all those games that happened around the 3 o'clock window this last Sunday were all favorites by 7 or more that blew out their opponents. Lions, Rams, and Seahawks, I think, are all pretty good teams. I want to give a shout out to the Ravens, though, because, again, like, you can have a Vikings team that can handle its business against the Lions one week, and, they're playing at home the next week. That was no easy task, but the Ravens are good again. Like, they covered as, like, a 4.5-point favorite. The Ravens were favored, and you would look at their records and go, why would the Ravens be favored? Vegas is in on it. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks. The Ravens are back. And I think anything statistically that you look at them and say, oh, their defense is XYZ, I don't think you can really claim that right now. I think they have literally morphed as a team. Maybe they got a little healthier on the defensive side. They got Lamar back. I think the Ravens are going to play between now and the end of the season like the Ravens, which, again, is going to tighten things up in that AFC wildcard chase because they're going to be expecting a spot. Well, the Steelers would be the outlier.
They're only a game back of the Steelers. I think they'll win that division, and that'll be the only team that's in.
If the Steelers go 8-9, then you're right. Like, that actually clears things up a little bit. But you're right. The Ravens, I'm sure, are overwhelmingly favored to win that AFC North at this point.
We'll see what that looks like.
Producer Ben mentioned my Drake May thing. Lamar Jackson, I think, is the biggest threat to my MVP bet. Like, Matt Stafford and May are right now like tied with the best odds. Lamar Jackson is going to emerge as we've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
The Ravens are going to get back in. Everybody's going to be talking about how they were dead in the water, even though nobody really thought that. And Lamar Jackson MVP is still going to be a possibility here, I think.
That'd be hard for me to see because there's voter fatigue, but either way, I suppose. But that's
Mahomes and Allen right now are not, like, their teams are not where you expect them to be, and that's why it's kind of wide open.
All right. Give us your good, bad, and ugly from NFL Week 10, 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show. We'll get some of your calls and texts on that. We'll talk about what could be happening in the college football playoff reveal tonight. And Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach, joins us at 5:45 here on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Free-for-all RV Road Warriors, your best blast of Branson just turned into a bad day bummer. You ran out of gas, blew a tire, killed your battery, are sitting sideways in a ditch, and managed to lock yourselves out. Ouch. Hey, it could happen. And for the save, you call I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for roadside assistance, too. Fuel, tires, batteries, locks, winching, you name it. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I-70towing.com. Now serving Boonville. Winching.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Hi, I'm Rainey. And I'm Leland. And we're with Betts Jewelers. It's almost time for our 13th annual Fall Color Show. Join us on Thursday, November 20th from noon to 7. Come pop a balloon to reveal your prize. You can win your purchase 20% to 40% off. Or for free up to $5,000. Can't wait to see you at Betts Jewelers for our Fall Color Show. Noon to 7, baby. November 20th.
Beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
This is Nevada Schauke with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, and I'm the Exterior Director of Sales. In the construction industry, the last few years, we've had a roller coaster ride. One thing that has stayed pretty consistent or common is that vendors have continued to raise prices on materials. We have called up to collaborate with some of our large vendors that we work with to offer some year-end promotions. If you're looking to replace your roof, upgrade your deck to composite, replace your old worn-out windows and doors, give us a call. We also offer several financing options to meet most budgets. Your project must be purchased by the end of the year. This is a unique opportunity to save some money on your next home renovation.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
My name is Josh Arnold, and I've been working at Zimmer Communications for over 5 years. When I first started at Zimmer, I was really impressed at all of the resources that they have available to you to succeed. I started at this job right out of college. I think I learned more here my first 3 to 6 months than I did in all of my time in my schooling at college. Working at Zimmer Communications, you really feel like you're part of a team. You don't feel like you're pitted against one another. It's a really fun atmosphere that allows me to excel in my job.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher Performance and Paint.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Oh, we have a good and bad and ugly for Mizzou this week from Jason, 875 KTGR.
Switching it up on us.
I guess a little bit. It's mostly Mizzou, but it is also NFL. There's an NFL bit in there. The good, the A&M coaching staff. The bad, the late games on Sunday. I assume he's referring to the NFL. And the ugly, the Mizzou coaching. Come on. All right. I get it. I understand. Wasn't great this weekend. A lot of teams have not looked great coaching wise against Texas A&M, who has a great coaching staff. Yeah, that happens.
Well, but it's not wrong to want to be great and to want to see your I'm not going to switch up and pretend like we weren't thinking, hoping, praying for playoff all year. And then when it doesn't happen, it is fair to be disappointed and to look at why it fell short. I don't think that's wrong from Jason.
It's just a lot of, is it all on the coaching staff? I mean, the coaching staff will take the blame, obviously, as Drink has done.
Kind of falls on the sword. But
again,
it's not just
the margins
him,
are
is my thing.
Yeah.
I think it is there were the coaching staff. We can look back at the year and say, boy, but I'm not necessarily putting as much of it on Drink as you would think. He has to be self-aware enough and be willing to make the hard decisions and adjustments that may need to be made with the coaching staff. But I can't even sit here and pound the table for that because he'll either be doing that here or Penn State. So I'm just waiting. We'll wait for all of it, I guess. Andy's making a face at me for the YouTube audience.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I can't sit here and pretend that I'm not thinking about it.
No, you have to view all of it through that lens of, I'd love to see this, and this happen next year under Eli Drinkwitz. And I think it's fine to hope that way. It's fine to think that way. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Always keep in mind, though, that things can shift in this sport just you
can't.
Like that. Just all of a sudden it gets pulled out from under you. So that's all. But appreciate the thoughts from Jason, the good, bad, and ugly. 875 KTGR here on the Big Show. So I think we can predict that Mizzou will be out of the rankings in the top 25 for the CFP this week. They were 22, and they'll fall out.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I didn't see who else lost, but there will be some teams that won that were not in it that maybe the committee was considering right through there.
I think Tennessee was on a bye. Did they play?
I believe, they were off.
So Pitt didn't lose. Washington, did they lose somebody? That's who was behind Mizzou. I really don't care. I think Mizzou should be out of the rankings.
Washington lost to Wisconsin.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, so they won't be in anymore.
They will not be in the rankings anymore.
And then we'll have to wonder, I guess, who among those, like you said,
we
don't
think
get
that there's a G5 represented because the first rankings did not have
one.
The G5 in the rankings at all, even though they picked, I believe it was Memphis as who would be the representative.
They said was the highest considered.
Right.
The
Didn't
program.
they lose too?
They lost to Tulane. And so Tulane, they lost to Ole Miss and somebody else that I guess they probably weren't supposed to have lost to. South Florida played earlier in the week, beat UTSA by 30 points. The reason I bring that up is they were ranked in the AP. So as we're trying to grasp at straws, James Madison was 24 in the AP. South Florida was 25. Tulane was 26. North Texas, shout out Eric Morris, was right behind Missouri, which was unranked in the AP this week. Right. So, one of those could potentially jump up, probably two of those, if you're talking about Washington dropping out and Missouri probably dropping out as well. Yeah, you might have two of the G5 ranked there, I would think.
It'll be interesting. But when it comes to the top, which will actually end up mattering, do you say that no one in the top 6 lost?
Right.
But should there be a change? Maybe the most likely change that could come is if maybe Texas A&M hops Indiana.
Texas A&M, the way they beat Missouri versus the way Indiana won at Penn State. Yeah, I don't know if they'll be I think that would be valid. But I also don't know how much the committee wants to go out of their way to invite scrutiny. Is it a status quo type of thing? Or can you say A&M went on the road and won by a lot to a team that was in our rankings?
Yeah.
And Penn State was not in the rankings, and we had a slim margin between Indiana and A&M. I think that would be a better signal that it would send to the rankings if they would admit, you know what, these two teams were close last week. We look at each week in the results, and now the body of work is a little better for A&M with the caliber of that win. And I would actually respect that if they went that way. I'll be curious to see what does it mean for Texas Tech to blow out BYU, and they'll obviously jump BYU from 8 to 7. But do they slide past any SEC teams, or do they say no, that's good on you, that's what you needed to do to stay in the top 10, but we're not going to reward it beyond that?
That'll be interesting. I don't think they will. It'd be hard to break up that block of SEC teams, and the committee just historically has not really done that in the past. So I would think that
Tech is still 8th in the AP, so
they'll be 7. I think I'm more interested in how far BYU falls from that.
They will fall. And Oregon, by the way, I mean, that's a ranked road win this week.
That's
Iowa was
win.
Ranked, so that's one where they'll be. I think the gap is smaller between number 6 Ole Miss and then what you'll see from Tech and Oregon at 7 and 8. But BYU will drop below those two. They'll drop below. I think they'll drop below Notre Dame.
Yep.
Fair or unfair? I mean, again, this was one where everybody's kind of said, BYU, you're just kind of skating by, and they got popped in that game against Texas Tech. So probably nestled up right above Utah. I think Texas and Oklahoma, they probably go behind as well. And then maybe it stops there.
Yeah, their floor is going to be Utah because the committee is going to go, well, BYU beat Utah. Dumbest thing ever. But
Utah does have 2 losses, though, too.
No, I get it. I understand. It's just Utah, I think, is a better team.
By the way, great week to be Vanderbilt. You survive against Auburn in overtime. You probably should have lost that game. You're going to jump Louisville. You're going to jump Virginia. You're they're moving up for sure, despite not having a great week.
Maybe I feel like they should maybe jump BYU. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be hard to place them in front of Utah when Utah didn't do anything to dispel their ranking. They were on bye this week, I believe. And the most recent data we have on them is them blasting Cincinnati. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they should be dinged for that. But yeah, Vandy should be 14, I think.
By the way, and I don't think they're a playoff chance. I don't think they have a chance. Tennessee probably jumps up to like 20, even though they didn't play.
Maybe.
And they've got 3 losses.
I don't know.
I just want to make note of this. Virginia and Louisville both took terrible losses. They shouldn't be ranked. Like, get them out of here. If they'll be ranked at all, I think Tennessee at 6-3 in the SEC is probably ranked above both of those ACC schools that took bad losses this week. Both at home, I think.
Yeah, they were both at home, and that's both their
favorites.
Second loss, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
so they'll drop.
I could see it. They could drop
Iowa
below
drops.
Tennessee. Yeah, I'd be interested in see how far. I don't think it'll be that far.
I think below Tennessee, though. I think
potentially,
Tennessee, Missouri and Washington dropped. So I don't think Tennessee played, but I think they move up a solid 5 spots, and they do have the Vanderbilt game remaining. And so if there's weirdness in the teens before that Vandy game, Tennessee could, I don't think they have a path, but it's going to be interesting to see how far they climb tonight.
Call or text us with what you think at 573
without doing anything.
875 KTGR. Yeah.
We're getting the chaos. We're getting the chaos.
All right. We'll talk with Brian Smith. They definitely had a good weekend, winning the Tiger Style invites. We'll talk about Mizzou wrestling next year on The Big Show.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermas, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Though not official, it is expected that the Missouri Tigers will fall out of the CFP rankings this evening following last weekend's loss against Texas A&M. The Tigers were ranked 22nd in last weekend's initial CFP rankings. Mizzou also fell out of the latest AP poll and dropped down 7 spots in the latest coaches poll to number 24. Coach Drinkwitz and other members of the Tigers will be live from Tiger Talk this evening at 7 o'clock to discuss more on last week's game and preview this week's game against Mississippi State. Mizzou women's basketball is back in action this evening from Mizzou Arena, taking on the Arkansas State Red Wolves. The Tigers are 2-0 on the season with victories over Central Arkansas and at home and on the road against Tulane. Tip-off for tonight's game is at 6:30 right here on KTGR. And the Kansas City Chiefs buzz around the Arrowhead Stadium is heating back up this week. Earlier today, Governor Mike Kehoe floated the idea of a potential renovation to Arrowhead Stadium that would put in place an all-weather protective covering over top the stadium, as reported by David Lieb of the Associated Press. Governor Kehoe said that there have been no discussions of a building dome stadium in Missouri, though similar talks have happened for a dome building in Kansas City, Kansas. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is next.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies tonight with temperatures dropping down to the mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow is warmer. We'll see mostly sunny skies with high temperatures in the low to mid 60s. Tomorrow night's warmer with temperatures falling down into the 40s. We'll see warmer temperatures in the mid to upper 60s on Thursday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Chiefs Kingdom lives here.
This is the Chiefs Kingdom.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Tune in every Monday night at 6 for the Chiefs Kingdom Show, hosted by the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. Hear from head coach Andy Reid and your favorite Chiefs players all season long. After every game, enter the doors to the Chiefs Kingdom. Monday nights at 6, powered by Macadoodles, Steve's Pest Control, and your total sports station for all things Chiefs. KTGR.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the best.
Get our healthy car special for only $39.95 from your Missouri-owned and operated Big O.
Show me state coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
Dean Jones with Living Canvas Tattoo and Body Piercing in downtown Columbia. I've been partnered with Zimmer for the last 20 years doing advertising, and they've been a big help. I've learned a lot from them. They've offered me a lot of resources to help grow the company, grow the brand. That's why all of you listening to this right now know who we are and have heard of us before, because Zimmer does such an exceptional job helping businesses grow.
Zimmer Communications. You know business. We grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Frank with Frank Hazelrig Cattle Company, inviting you to join us for our 13th annual Family Values production sale on November 16th. We're offering 80 performance-tested Angus bulls and 90 high-quality females backed by our better over bigger genetic philosophy. It's a great time to be in the cattle business, and it's even better with the right genetics. We're confident you'll find the most quality and value for your money at Frank Hazelrig Cattle Company. Request a catalog and preview videos of the sale offering at FHCCB.
The warm scent of maple spiced coffee fills the air. And is that a hint of Caribbean rum? That must be Caldy's Coffee Highlander Grog Brewing, our decadent maple spiced blend that's won fans nationwide. Loved for how it smells and for how it makes you feel. Each cup brings back the comfort of a classic coffee morning. Cozy, nostalgic, maple spiced coffee. Shop Caldy'sCoffee.com for your bag today. Also available in pods.
Go, go, go! Sir, the bugs have taken over the entire neighborhood. They took out the Thompsons, the Joneses, and the Smiths.
I don't know how much longer we can hold on. Calm down, soldier. Reinforcements are on the way. Holy protector of pest control.
Steve's Pest Control is currently en route.
As the season changes, you may notice spiders, wasps, and mice trying to enter your home. But don't worry, the pros of Steve's Pest Control are ready for battle. Before the fall invasion attacks your property, calmly, quietly, pick up your phone and call us at Steve's Pest Control. We've been protecting businesses, homes, and neighborhoods all over Central Missouri for years, and we can protect yours too. I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We will eliminate your pest problem and stop the fall pest invasion. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got the Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here. Mizzou wrestling season is now underway. The Tigers just got done with the Tiger-style invite this past Sunday, and the team took first place in that competition. Oklahoma was in town, as well as South Dakota State and Little Rock, and the Tigers were able to get 4 individual weight champions as well during that tournament. And head coach Brian Smith with us now on the KTGR hotline to talk about it. And coach, just to have that essentially the first time that you're welcoming in some of those conference opponents that you'll see down the line here very soon. How did you see your group kind of faring against them the first time around?
I mean, it was a tough 5-team tournament. The other team that was there too, that has a good team, is Purdue. And so it's I think most of them are ranked in the top 25. So it was a competitive day. We got to see some really physical styles from the Big Ten, and Little Rock had some really quality kids. Oklahoma. I mean, it was good competition, and really pleased. Got to see a lot of our younger. I think we wrestled 22 guys at the tournament. So some of our young freshmen got to compete and did fairly well. Danny Heiser taking third as a true freshman, and a few others placing up there too. But and they were into it, so it made it a fun day for us.
Yeah, and to have so many guys place well, and especially the guys who took first for you, which Zeke Seltzer got that individual weight championship, as well as Josh Edmonds. And I mean, you've expected a lot from those guys, but also to see, the redshirt senior Max Mayfield wrestling in this tournament for the first time claim his weight. And then your redshirt freshman, Aiden Sinclair, who we've talked about, and the excitement that he could bring. Just how those guys to start out on the right foot the way that they did show out for you on Sunday.
Yeah, Max transferred in from Northwestern, and we have, he's ranked somewhere between 10 and 12 in the country. but just to go out and execute and score like he was, it was a smart kid that gets on the mat and just wrestles physical, but has really good leg attacks, and he's gaining confidence in them. I think he won a lot of low-scoring matches in a couple years, and we're trying to get him to open up. And just seeing what he was doing in the finals, hitting a couple takedowns at the end when he had a lead, I was impressed. He's growing as a wrestler, and it's fun to see that. Aiden Sinclair just dominated. He had a couple pins, and then the guy was hurt that he was going to wrestle in the finals, so he didn't have an opportunity to wrestle him in the finals. But he's wrestling with a lot of confidence. And then Josh Edmond getting after it, winning some tough matches. And then really having Zeke Seltzer step up. We haven't had, we weren't sure who's going to step up at 41, and Zeke has been doing a good job for us and came in as a big recruit. He's in his 4th year here, but really stepped up and got 2 nationally ranked wins and helped himself out a lot by winning that tournament. So looking forward to see him compete next week too.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, just the having multiple wrestlers in these weights, and the fact that you mentioned from the top being able to wrestle so many guys in this particular tournament, how does it then help you kind of find out, okay, who can slide into these starting roles here very soon as you get closer to that? When you're in a dual formats, and you've got to make sure that you've got one guy that matches up really well against your opponent any given week.
Yeah, I mean, practice in the room is different than the competition out on the arena floor. Guys can look good in the practice room, but how they compete when they're out in the circle, it's not practice. It definitely is different. But seeing what we, as a team, I think most of our starters were first, second, or third, and we had the 4 wins. Our heavyweight took second, lost to a highly ranked guy in the finals. 25. Oh, he wrestled at such a great day and beat some guys that beat a kid that beat him last year. This is Mac Mauger, and loses a match with 10 seconds to go that he had been dominating. And it's, you can be upset with him, which he's upset with himself. But as a coach, you got to step in and say, he wrestled a really good match and just kind of had a letdown in the last 5 to 7 seconds. Let's change it, correct it, and move forward because it's November. And he'll learn that. And then Cade Moore taking third, wrestled really good. Not good in this first match, but battles all the way back and wins 4 straight matches to take third. So seeing a lot of good things from this team.
Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach, with us here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And you mentioned just the experience that younger wrestlers can also get, even though they may have guys that are in front of them at the moment, going up against the type of opponents that they did. How valuable is that when you take that forward with them, maybe not just into this year, but also future years?
It's just a part of this process that you get on the mat against high-level D1 guys and scrap, and you see where you're at. And then, that was yesterday. We had a long talk about, and a film session as a team, just watching some of the things that we were executing that was good, and then some things that we got to work on as a program, and some of them individually. And then today was a good hour and a half of working on techniques that we needed to. Just the way they're in the room doing it, it's good to see that they're hungry to learn and they're getting better and they work hard. So it's fun to coach them.
For sure. And so with that opening win, essentially, you now move on to the National Duels Invitational, which we were talking earlier. This is a really cool event that they've got going on in Tulsa, 16-team bracket. You're included in that along with some of the top programs in the country, and one of them is going to be your first opponent in this event, Iowa, who's ranked number 3 right now. So to have this event, first of all, to be able to participate in, and then also to get even more right out of the gates, big time tests for your group. What's that do for your team at this point?
I mean, every match is a challenge. Iowa has a great tradition, great program, and they have a loaded team. They're a team that's going to be in the top 3, top 4 in the country. So this is when you're stepping on the mat against a team that really doesn't have a weak weight. But we look at it that this is what we do every day in our practice room. We have great talent. We've wrestled Iowa in the past. It's been a long time since we've wrestled them, but the previous 2 times that we've wrestled them, we've scrapped with them and beat them. So it's just, you have to have a mindset to go out there that don't worry about what they have. Just, do what you do. Go out, execute your techniques, and wrestle hard, and we'll find out where we are. And we're going in there to battle and win. There's no doubt about it. And it's an opportunity. I love it that we get to wrestle Iowa. I love that we get this tough competition. The National Duels is a great event. That's going to be big crowds down in Tulsa. It's where we wrestle the Big 12 tournament. So it's kind of a preseason test for us to go, the early season, to go down to the building we're going to wrestle the Big 12s in and get some really high level competition with huge crowds. I know they've sold a lot of tickets. I mean, the owner of Paycom has donated $1 million in prize money. So it's a great event for the sport of wrestling, and it's going to be all broadcast on Flow and then some of it on ESPN. So it'll be some good wrestling going on down in Tulsa.
Certainly looking forward to it. And again, a great event to keep growing the sport forward. And I'm sure you're all about that. And we certainly are here too, with how this could be growing very soon. So that's the next opponent coming up for Mizzou Wrestling as they take on Iowa in their first duel at the National Duels Invitational. It'll be on Saturday morning at 9:00 when the Tigers take on the Hawkeyes. And then we'll see what their matchup is after that, following the result of it. But great to talk all things Mizzou Wrestling after their Tiger-style invite victory over the weekend. Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling here on the Big Show KTGR. Thanks for coming on, Coach. Hope you're well. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's the Big Show on KTGR and the KTGR app, so certainly looking forward to that event coming up. The National Duels Invitational in Tulsa. We'll see how Mizzou Wrestling is able to fare against some of the top wrestling programs in the country very early on in this season. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks also to the injury expert, Will Carroll, for coming on last hour. Stay tuned on 100.5 FM. You'll be able to hear Mizzou women's basketball as they start against Arkansas State. They'll tip at 6:30. Coverage will begin at 6:15, again on 100.5 FM. Tiger Talk can be heard tonight on 105.1 and 1580 starting at 7 p.m. And we'll see you tomorrow at 4. He's Brenden. He's producer Ben. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and